An image appears of a document representing a soldier's pension with handwriting at the bottom. At the top, text reads, "Pensions of Guilford Courthouse." A painting shows an up-close image of an older man sitting. He has his left hand on a musket that is standing vertically next to him. The image then pans out to reveal a soldier in a blue Continental uniform seated next to him, holding a fiddle. Hezekiah Foard attended court at the age of 80 to testify on behalf of another soldier, Captain Robert Kirkwood, commander of the Delaware Light Infantry at Guilford Courthouse. 3 images of older men appear on screen. One is a black and white image of a gray-haired man seated with his hands folded in front of him. The next is an older gentleman with his hands clasped at his chest. The third man is bald with long hair on the sides, and he has a pipe in his mouth, and he holds the end of that pipe with his right hand. Part of the pension process required providing witnesses who could testify to your service. In April 1832, Foard served as a witness on behalf of the survivors of Captain Robert Kirkwood. A rough painting shows 3 figures seated on a bench in a courtroom. An older man is reclined at the left side, and in the center of the image, another older man leans to the right and quietly speaks to a red-haired woman who holds a petition in her hands, who had died in 1791, 27 years before the pension process even began. A painting depicts a desk with assorted stationery and legal books and legal documents. At the center, a man's hand writes on paper using a quill pen. His other hand at the right side holds a paper with writing on it. Testimony of men like Foard was helpful for widows or survivors to prove the service of deceased family members. A sketch of a Continental soldier shows a man from the waist up. He has a black tricorner hat, a blue coat with red facings, and his hands are clasped on the muzzle of a musket. Foard was familiar with Kirkwood from his time serving in the Maryland line. An image shows a line of Continental soldiers. Some wear blue coats, some wear brown hunting shirts, some have hats, and some are bareheaded. They all have bayonets attached to their muskets that are pointed to the right side of the screen towards an unseen approaching enemy. The 1st Maryland was by far the most experienced American unit at the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. A sketch shows a dense column of Continental soldiers marching through a town. The camera pans in to the left to focus on one soldier, an officer who holds a sword on his right shoulder, while all of the soldiers around him march with muskets on their shoulders. Hezekiah Foard was one of the soldiers who had been with the unit from the very beginning. He had risen to become an officer by the time they fought at Guilford Courthouse. Foard was 24 years old when he originally enlisted in early 1776, and a painting depicts masses of soldiers running across the field at the Battle of Brooklyn. The camera quickly focuses in on a group in the distance who are partially obscured by smoke, and an officer on horseback is just visible at their center. It then quick focuses to a different group of soldiers running across a patch of wheat. One man has a panicked look on his face, and his comrade next to him seems to have tripped and fallen. He was among the few men who survived the Maryland line's mauling at the Battle of Brooklyn in August. 68% of his company in the battle were killed, wounded, or captured. He was one of 36 out of 100 men who remained. We see a map of the American colonies showing the Atlantic coast from New Jersey to South Carolina. A soldier's silhouette is up in the right corner in New Jersey. It then moves all the way down the map and stops in South Carolina. He fought in several major battles in the north, and when the Marylanders marched to the Southern Theater, Hezekiah survived another disaster at the Battle of Camden in August of 1780. A sketch shows British soldiers overrunning American soldiers at the Battle of Camden. On top of this image, 2 separate soldiers appear. One is a blue-coated Continental holding a spear-like weapon called a spontoon. The other soldier is a redcoat, running towards him with his musket pointed at him. At Camden, he used his officer's spontoon to kill a British soldier who was trying to capture him. The British soldier had grabbed Foard by the hair, and Foard spun around and stabbed the man with his weapon. We return to the painting of the older soldier seated with his left hand on a musket that is standing vertical next to him. After the war, Foard collected a pension and bounty land for his service in 1828. The National Park Arrowhead logo appears.